In terms of the running order, what we're going to look at is, what's new with Cognos Analytics, what are some of the new features and capabilities that exist. And I think for those of you who are on older versions, there's some very, very neat capability now included in this, particularly things like data modules, dashboards. IBM have made a significant upgrade to the product, the usability and the look and feel of the product in this space. And it's very, very strong and very, very compelling. And we'll see some of that. And I think the other piece is, running through the portal, what's changed there, how much more user friendly it is, looking at some of the newer capabilities of the reports and dashboards. I talked about the data modules already. Then we get into the demo, and then, lastly, what might an upgrade strategy or plan look like? So without further ado, let's cut through the slides and move into the demo. So just to refresh people, most of you, as far as I know, are already customers of ours, but maybe just a little refresh on who we are and what we do. So ProStrategy has been around for over 30 years. We have north of 50 permanent staff, all very, very experienced, and a significant number of Irish customers across a number of different markets within Ireland. We're located both in Cork and Dublin, which means we're, well able to serve all geographic locations within the country. And within our practice, we have two distinct areas of focus. The one you guys will be interested in today is analytics, where we're, a premier business partner of IBM, but also, a gold certified Microsoft partner as well. So the key solutions we offer within these spaces are the IBM Cognos platform and solution, where we look at Cognos Analytics, which is what we're talking about today, but also TM1 on the planning analytics side, and all built on a foundation of Microsoft, whether it's on-prem SQL Server or hosted in the cloud, which is happening more and more with our customers, hosted in Azure. And then also we offer Power BI capability as well. The other half of our practice is focused more on the CRM and ERP solutions, where we focus solely on the Microsoft stack, Microsoft Dynamics, which is a leader in that space, to offer up capability to new and existing customers. As I said earlier, we're partners of both IBM and Microsoft. These are significant global players, and they continue to invest very, very heavily in product development, which really future-proofs the investment that our customers make in these technologies. IBM, you hear about Watson, it's always at the forefront of the material you hear, in relation to IBM and analytics. That whole AI thing is being invested in very significantly by both IBM in the form of Watson and also by Microsoft as well. And they've got very, very deep pockets. And I think what's happening is, as they lead the charge in the analytics space, customers, whether it's at a consumer or enterprise level, are reaping the rewards of those benefits. And those tools, those capabilities are becoming more commoditized and wrapped up in regular analytics and BI tools. And it's being made very, very easy for consumers to start to leverage those technologies. If we look at on the next slide there, Philip, just to maybe give a highlight of some of the customers we have here. You can see here broad range, veiling, Aer Lingus, your airlines, semi-states, Primark and Selfridges, two marquee customers in the retail space, and backed up by a whole host of others, whether it's in banking, insurance, or the fast-moving goods sector. So we're well versed across the analytics, CRM and ERP stack in serving customers of all shapes and sizes. So that's enough about ProStrategy and reminding you who we are, or maybe introducing ourselves for the first time. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to Philip to get on with the meat of the presentation. If anyone does, we'll pause throughout the presentation as well to allow people to ask questions, and also we'll allow a little bit of time at the end. So please feel free to either send something on chat, or else, you know, when Philip takes a pause, please do ask a question. Thanks everybody, and thanks Philip, over to you.
Hello all. See a lot of familiar names coming through there. Join us. Good to see you again, and some not so familiar. So just like to say hello, and my name's Philip Vernon. So what is Cognos Analytics and what's new? Well, for you who have seen Cognos before, if it's Cognos 10 versions, Cognos 8, there is a new user interface portal. It's revamped for a better user experience and easier navigation. It's a lot slicker, and it's a lot more modern and sort of not as clunky as the previous versions. Report Author, this is replacing Workspace Advanced and Report Studio. And pretty much what it has done, it's amalgamated both Workspace Advanced and Report Studio together. So those who are familiar with Report Studio, you're able to create your reports, but you're not able to preview stuff until you say you run the report. But with Workspace Advanced, then you're also able to see everything that you were doing as you were developing the report. So Report Author then has amalgamated these two, so you're able to switch between certain views, and you're also able to do a little bit more sort of easier navigation of filtering stuff that you would be able to do with Workspace Advanced, but this now applies to Report Studio. So data modules and data servers. So what this is, it's a new functionality as well, where you're able to integrate multiple data sources to build small and focused data modules. With data servers giving you the functionality to quickly connect to a data source. So anybody here that's sort of familiar with, say, a framework manager, it's kind of like a framework manager light. So you're able to bring tables in from different sorts of packages. You can bring them in from like an existing framework manager package, or you're able to connect to a data source directly through Cognos itself, not having to go through, say, framework manager or TM1. So you're able to connect the data source directly. You're able to bring some tables in and sort of join them together. You're also then able to, you could use them from different data sources as well. And as long as there's a relationship between the two data sources, between certain tables, you're able to join them together to make your data module. You're also able to add, say, the likes of uploaded files to an Excel file or CSV file. You're able to upload this and sort of connect that to your data module, which could also be a framework manager package. So you're able to connect that to your framework manager package to do a little bit more of quick ad hoc analysis. Dashboards, this is a new functionality as well with Cognos Analytics. So it's kind of similar to active reports, but it wouldn't be as heavy on development. But it wouldn't have sort of some of the attributes that active reports has. But what it kind of is, easily to create fully interactive dashboards. You're able to sort of drag and drop things in from TM1 cubes, data modules, framework manager packages, drag and drop it onto your on your page, and Cognos Analytics then will sort of think of what would be the best visualization for this data set that you brought through. I'll show you it more later on, and you'll be able to get a better idea of what I mean. So on the mobile, what's happened there is that previously with Cognos, you had to download an app, and then you're only able to sort of access your reports through that app. But now you're able to actually use the browser interface that you have on your desktop, and this is also able to be done on a mobile device. So you're actually able to create reports. So you go through your, say, Safari browser with an iPad, and you'll be able to log on to Cognos there, and you'll be able to develop reports on your iPad. So it's just the same sort of interface, except it's all touchscreen and on your iPod. So just go on to the next slide here. So this is a new user interface portal. As you can see, it's a lot different from the old version. So we have a new search functionality here where you can search through, which searches data references as well as report and package names. So if I was to say search for a particular field, it would give me all the reports that uses that particular field, which is quite handy. My folders and public folders. have now been renamed to My Content and Team Content, but it's just the same. So My Folders, My Content is where you would hold all your own sort of development pieces or your own reports, and then Team Content is then shared throughout the company. And then there's a default homepage which you can set, and this is the default homepage here, and this shows us the user's recent activities. This can be modified individually or throughout the company. So you'll be able to sort of set, if you have a dashboard you've created or a particular report, you can set that as your homepage. So every time you open up Cognos, you would see that report or dashboard. And then you can also set that company-wide. So that anybody who would log in from the company, they would see a particular dashboard. It would be showing your key KPIs or other things. So then we've got our manage button down here. So that's for your administration. So it's also, you're able to do so, but you had to go through administration console before for a lot of stuff. And that administration console is still there, and it still has the old sort of interface, but you don't actually have to go directly to that anymore. A lot of that sort of those capabilities are there just within Cognos itself, this interface itself. And then at the bottom, as you see down here, we have our it's a new button. So this is for you to be able to quickly begin development of reports, dashboards, or data modules. And as I mentioned, then you can easily view the user's own report schedules and can set personal UI customization. So as I was referencing earlier, you can change this to your own sort of dashboard or report. You can also notice here that there's a drag and drop. So you're able to sort of drag and drop an Excel file or a CSV file, and that can be uploaded straight into your My Content. And you can automatically start creating reports off that Excel file or CSV file. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this can also be added to data modules. So report author has kind of changed, as you can see here, this kind of interface. So it replaces Workspace Advanced Query Studio, Analysis Studio, and Report Studio. You're still able to access the likes of Query Studio, Analysis Studio through Cognos Analytics, but it brings you back into the old interface, and I think they won't be supporting it in a few years' time. So it combines the functionality of Report Studio and live data preview that was available in Workspace Advanced, not only used for standard active reports, but also targeted specifically as an end user tool for data analysis and discovery. So as I was saying, what that means is that when you run a report, say HTML, you're able to interact with it again a little bit more. You're able to add filters to it and then rerun that report with your added filters. So it's not just like a stagnant report once you've run it. Yeah, and reports, as I mentioned earlier, can also be authored on mobile devices through the mobile's internet browser. No need for apps. Looking on then here, so this is the data modules as I was mentioning earlier then as well. So anybody's familiar with Framework Manager, you can see that this sort of look, it's kind of familiar when it comes to, say, the tables and the joins, but it's sort of a lot more concise, a lot more slicker. It wouldn't have all the functionality that Framework Manager would have, but it would have most of it. And so you can use multiple data sources, such as data server connection to an external database, existing Framework Manager packages, or uploaded files, or other data modules. So we have multiple input sources joined to create a single data module. You can set data types, filters, and create custom calculations. This is a neat new functionality here as well. You're able to create navigation paths, so a user may drill down in reports or dashboards. So if you have like a relational data source, so it's not like a cube or anything, you're able then to say create a navigation path. You could clearly go from say year to quarter to month, but you're also with this you're actually able then to say have a navigation path say from year to location type to products or something. Like they don't have to be strongly related, but as long as there's a nice relationship with them within the table format, you're able to create these navigation paths. And from these data modules, you're able to create reports and dashboards. And so this is kind of the look of the dashboard. So they're easy to create and they're fully interactive. And they're marketed as a self-service tool for BI end users. Dashboards can be created from data sources such as cubes, framework manager packages, data modules, and uploaded files. When charts are added, they're automatically linked. So by clicking on a field in one chart, it will filter the other charts respectively. And then if you have a navigation path or it says a cube, you're able to drill down through the charts as well. So go down to lower levels. So I think enough of the theoretical talk, and I'll go into the demo here. Okay, so this is the new Cognos Analytics portal, as I mentioned earlier. So up here, you've got your little welcome button. So if I open up any of these, say, reports, I will have them all listed here, and I can sort of jump through between them. You'll see me doing that as I go through this. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, we've got this search functionality. So if I have to search for, say, and you can save search as well. So I've saved the search amount here. So I'll just sort of click on this. I search amount, then this is listing all the reports that our data modules that contain that measure amount. My content then, and this, as I mentioned earlier, holds all your own personal reports. And if you're doing a little bit of development before you want to share it with anybody, you sort of contain it there. And it's easy to move it from out here into, say, team content. Team content is very familiar to my folders, but again, it's a lot more slicker. It looks a lot better than it did with previous Cognos 10
Hey,
versions.
Philip.
And then,
Sorry,
yeah.
Philip. We've just had some feedback coming in that it's a little bit hard to see. Is there any way you can expand that?
Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah. You can probably go back a little bit. On the screen as well, everybody should have, I believe you should have a control at the top of the screen where you have some zoom capability, so you might be able to adjust your own level of zoom as well. Thanks, Philip.
Okay, so in team content then, this would contain your packages and your data modules and your reports, and you're able to add your folders, and again, you're able to put sort of security on packages and folders here for certain users. As you can see here also, this is the sort of the default screen just shows your recent reports and your recent activities that you're working on. You can sort of reset this to show how many reports you want, or as I mentioned earlier, put in a report or a dashboard as your home screen. If you're having a little bit of trouble trying to find things, you're able to go to these get started videos, and that brings you through to little sort of demos by IBM showing you sort of how to navigate around here and sort of create quick reports just to get your bearings. Up here then we have your own personal sort of area, so you can see your schedules and your subscriptions within this. So I've nothing scheduled here, but you can see that you have your scheduled reports, and you can see what's upcoming and what's past and current. And yeah, and then we would go into, say, your preferences. So here you'll be able to see what kind of homepage you have. Is the default one, which we have here at the minute. And you're able to set certain preferences to your own liking. So as I said, I'm jumping here from one window then to another, so I can just close that and then back to the homepage. So if we go down to, say, new here, that's where we have, we create new reports, new dashboards, stories. They're kind of like dashboards, but you can sort of run them in a way, sort of like a little bit of a movie in a sense, kind of like a PowerPoint sort of presentation. Then we can sort of create data modules from here, and then we have other, and that would sort of show us to our legacy interfaces. So we would have sort of an L Studio, PowerPoint Studio, but as I said before, if we go into them, they will be in the old version. It won't be sitting in this new and nicer, slicker way. So I will maybe start with then showing you a dashboard. I'll just open up this. Okay, you can just go to full screen here then. So this dashboard is created off a Power Play cube, and what it shows is that what we have here is it's all drag and drop, and what we have here is revenue and gross profit broken out by quarters. Then we have our regions by revenue. And then down here we have a pie chart of quantity sold and quantity returned, so we're able to get a quick sort of outlook of ratios of what we're selling and how much stuff is being returned. We can see here that if we're able to sort of just click on this trend chart, then it's updating each of the visualizations automatically. So we're going to just stick with 2013 quarter 2. And you can see also then if I was to flick through the regions, it also updates the charts automatically. As we're flicking through here, we can see that we're getting a lot of returns with camping equipment. So that might want to be an area of investigation we want to look at. So if I sort of unclick, say, Northern Europe here again, and I will sort of click on camping equipment, and I want to see what's below that, I can sort of drill down. And that's giving me the level below. So whether I set up some navigation paths through the data module, you can actually create navigation paths as you create in the dashboard as well. So if it's not within the data module, you're able to set up the navigation path in the dashboard interface. So we can see here that we're getting a lot of returns with product type lanterns. And as you see, if I was able to move across here on this pie chart, it's going to give me the level below of each of those particular product types. So concentrating on camping equipment, we can see we're getting a lot of returns for lanterns. So if I say click on lanterns, then obviously this is just going to update the show in camping equipment. And we can see then that by clicking on Americas again, still lanterns is quite strong in returns. Central Europe as well, Asia Pacific also quite a lot there, and Northern Europe. So looking on, say, Americas, I could drill down here as well, and I'll be able to see which countries are buying most and where things are being returned most. So I may want to sort of look at this a little bit deeper, so I sort of go to another tab here. So it's in this tab then is set up again using the same cube, but I've created a measure, very simply done within the dashboard interface of sort of returns divided by quantity. So each of these quadrants then are showing the percentage of returns. So we see that's pretty high in Americas. We've got order methods. Down here again we have our product line, and then we're showing the product brand type, which is a couple of levels below. So again, as you can see, everything sort of is interactive with each other, and everything updates by clicking on. And if I sort of click on Americas here again, we can see that a lot of our returns are coming from sales visits. So I'll see what these sales visits are, and so it's coming through for relief, and we know we've got a problem with camping equipment, but it's not relief as the main area of sales visit returns. What it is, we've got this Everglow, so I can drill down and see what sort of product grouping that is in. If I go to, say, cooking gear, you can see that Everglow is actually one of those lights. But again, I've noticed that I've filtering an order method. If we take the order method type away, you can see Everglow is actually the highest out of all of them. If I click on lanterns, Everglow again is the strongest. So if I sort of drill back up here a little bit, and I sort of click on camping equipment here. So with this dashboard then also, I could actually drill through to a report that has already been made, and this is going to filter then on Americas and camping equipment. So let's come through to this little report. It might take me minutes. So here we go. So as you can see here, this report's been filtered by Americas and camping equipment, and we're getting returns for each product type, country, and the stores within each of those countries. So this is also interactive as well, so I'm not just stuck with this report. So I can sort of just click here in 2013, and I'll filter on that, because that's the only where I'm interested in. So that filters here, and then I'm sort of only looking at the Everglow area, so I can sort of filter on this also. And again, so we see the returns here pretty heavy in Canada and the United States, but just for argument's sake, I'll just sort of look at the United States only. And then I will expand here on Everglow to see what products are below that. So you're getting a quick lot of interactivity and easy analysis without having to jump through lots of different reports. You're able to get a quick overview analysis of it with your dashboard, and you're able to get down to more detail within the report. Now, in this case, I could have probably got all this detail from the dashboard itself, but I just wanted to show you for the dashboard itself by drilling down, but I just wanted to show you how you're able to drill through from a dashboard to another report. So I'll just go back to the dash map generic. So within this dashboard, this has been created off 2 data sources. Okay, so this is a third tab here that I have. I just wanted to show you the mapping functionality that we have. So this data source isn't related whatsoever to the previous data set, but as I said, I just kind of like to show you the new data functionality. So I'm just going to click on group here, so I'll home into Ireland. Okay. And set that update, and then I'll unclick. So what we have here is our key metrics being displayed here, and then we have a map of Ireland, and these regions, county regions, are being shaded by revenue, and then we have our locations, which are taken from longitude, latitude. So in creating this, this is actually created off a data module. So I had 6 data source, and we had sort of location names, but didn't have any longitude, latitude. So what I was able to do then was sort of run reports sort of out in Excel, find what the longitude, latitudes are of the locations, and then add them to the Excel file, and then create a data module from that by bringing that file back in. So that's just an example of how data modules can be quite handy. And yes, so as I said, so these are sized by revenue, and they're also shaded then by profit before tax. So again, by sort of clicking on one of these location types, group 1 here, I'm able to see a new sort of shading, filtering of revenue key areas for this group 1 location type, and the map sort of updates automatically, and vice versa. Then I'd be able to say, click on, say, Cork here, the region, and then it filters my KPIs for just that region alone, and then it gives me what location types are sort of contained in that region and the revenues associated with it. So what I'm going to touch on now is just show you quickly how easy it is to create one of these dashboards. So I've got this edit button up here. So say for instance I was working with a dashboard and I want to do a little bit more investigations in a certain area. I'll sort of just click this edit button. And that's my data set and grouping. So as you can see, I've got my 2 separate data sources. That's the sales marketing cube, and that's the data module. I'm going to focus on this area. Okay, here we go. And as you can see here, I can create a navigation path if I wish. So I will, just to sort of demonstrate it. And I'll just go just to show you for things that are unrelated. It's not going to make sense, but it's just to show how things are unrelated in a sense. So I've got year, and then I will bring in location type. And I'll bring in, say, activities. Okay, so I'll just click OK. And you see up here then my navigation path has been created. So I'll just add a new dashboard here. So I'll just use this 2x2. It shows you, gives you little templates. And I will just bring, say, then year into this tab here. Okay, so we've got sort of an overall summary. Obviously, that's coming from sort of the Excel file. But so what I can do then also, if I want to sort of get rid of that, is if I go into this, I've got my versions. There's a context slicer up here, so that'd be sort of quite familiar with people who use Workspace Advanced. I drop this in here. Let's see what's in here. And we've got actuals and no value, so I'll just click on actuals. Okay. And overall summary's gone. So now I'm just going to drop in a measure. I'll just go for revenue. Drop in here, and there we have it. And before I go into the demonstrate the navigation path, I will sort of build a little map just to show you how easy that is as well. So got my locations here, county, longitude, latitude. So I'll just drag latitude over to this quadrant. As you can see then, because it has a little icon latitude, Cognos is automatically seen this is a location and thinks I want to build a map of it. So if it didn't, I would always be able to sort of change what kind of visualization like. So you can see there's a whole array here of area, line, column, line charts, stack columns, radials, pie charts, etc. So just minimize this again. Or while I'm in here, I can just sort of bring everything. So I'll just bring in longitude. Sort of telling you where to put the things, you know, it's quite specifying. So you see the visualization updates automatically. I'll bring in some measures. So I will size it by, I'll shade it by profit before tax, and I'll size it by revenue. Then I'm going to bring in counties. So I'll bring that up to regions area. And then I'll again shade that by revenue. Okay, so I'll just expand this a little bit. So you can see how quickly it is to build a dashboard. I just drag and drop in, and I've created my navigation path. So I'll sort of look at 2018. And then I will drill down from the navigation path. So that brought me down to location type. And now again, I'm going to drill down into, say, activities. And there we have it. And then I'm able to sort of click on these activities, and again, it's updating the map automatically and any other visualization that I would have here. So the next area I think I'll show you will be just the report authoring.
Does anybody have any questions for Philip at this point? I know we're moving pretty quickly through it, but any questions?
A lot to get through.
All right, we'll allow some time at the end for Q&A anyway. Thanks, Philip.
Okay, so this will be more of your traditional type of report. So I'll just sort of click on this. And again, we have a prompts that you would have been sort of used to in the old version. So a lot of all the functionality that was there previously is still here, but it's just sort of set out slightly different. So here I've just got a normal report in a sense, but it's interactive with people probably seen before, so I'm able to sort of change around from these particular prompts. You're able to do this in the previous version, but what's new is that within this report then I'm able to play around with it to get sort of extra analysis. So you can see here, like we've got some net profit growth here for Vice President 1 is a lot higher than anybody else. So maybe I just want to focus on him alone. So I'll just sort of go to here and include Vice President 1. So I'm just filtering that now. Then I'm able to sort of expand this as well. See the lever below. So if I expand here, then you can see what regions he's managing. Say for instance, I just want to look at how payroll is broken out. Again, then I'm able to explore and I just sort of expand the memory. And then maybe I'm only interested in payroll. I can sort of select a payroll and just filter in that, include payroll. and the report's then a lot more concise. Now, so say, for instance, I was to find something a little bit funny, and I would share this. I would then be able just to say run the report, and I could just sort of run it as PDF. So I had the report already, and now I was able to sort of interact with it, and now I can run the report to PDF again, and it's the modified version. So I'd be able to say sort of download this and then send it on to somebody else who may be interested in some of these KPIs or funny metrics. So I just kind of like to show you then how easy it is to create a report and sort of have it looking nice. So I'll just go to new and I'll hit report. And I'll say OK. And I'll pick my data source. So I'm going to go for a cube. So I'm just sort of navigating through the team content here. And we've got sales marketing cube. Open. And cross tab. So this is quite familiar. It's a little bit different to how Report Studio would look, but everything's still here. That is there before. It's just sort of hidden. You can open it up, close it. So I'll just bring in, say, revenue as my measure. And up here, then you can see that I've got my page view. So if I go to, say, page preview, then I'm kind of in this workspace advanced type mode, but it's still like Report Studio. All the functionality of Report Studio is still there. So I'll just change the look of this, and I'll go for time, share date group. So I'll bring year to date, probably year to date in. I'm bringing these in as different groups because I want to sort of add a little bit of conditional formatting on one side of them, but not the other. And let's say I'll go for order methods. Yeah. And then I want to try again, say products. Missed that here. Okay, so not looking too bad. Then I want to say add a little bit of conditional formatting here. So just go to styles. By revenue, so I just add. So I'm going to go for 0 because I'm going for a percentage. So anything above it is good, anything below it is poor. Click OK. Okay. And there we have it. Now, if you're not sort of happy with this look of it, there's a nice sort of you're able to sort of go through table styles here. And I want to go for, say, accounting 2. It's nice, kind of neat. I don't have formatting here, but that's okay. I can just sort of jump here to the conditional styles. I already have the conditional styles, so I'll just use that. Okay. Okay, there we have it. And then if I wanted to add a title to it again, so I just go to sort of headers and footers, create header, sort of text item, year to date, order methods. And maybe I want to size that a little bit differently. Bold, 14 points, underline, okay. Then run this out to PDF. There we go. It's a nice quick report. Banged it out in a couple of minutes. So just to mention this about sort of Report Studio. So before you would have all your properties sitting down here in the bottom left. As you can see, they're all sitting out here to the right. And you also have sort of extra little sort of icons jump up out to you. And so a lot of these properties can be sort of sitting here rather than going through here. And then you can sort of create calculations, drill down members and stuff here, stuff that I was showing you before. That when you're able to do interactive report, you're actually able to do that also when you're developing a report. You've got your top 5 bottoms, you can filter the sets and stuff here. And people who use the sort of the old environment as well, if you go to the query, you still kind of add an interface that people might be a little bit more familiar with. So it's not a huge step of moving from Cognos 10 to say Cognos 11. It's just new functionality, and it's just laid out a little bit differently. I will go and maybe start showing you, just touch on sort of data modules. So this is one that's already been created. So as you can see, it's very similar to Framework Manager, and you can just create relationships between your tables that are brought through. This is brought through from an actual data server. If I had a Framework Manager package, I'd be able to sort of choose what tables I want to display, and then even from the Framework Manager package, you could sort of, those relationships would still be there, that were there, or you could create new ones. So you can see by sort of clicking on the links, you can see how they're related. So this is on customer key and company code. And you've got your one-to-end relationship, which would be sort of the granularity of the tables. So I'm not sort of stuck with this. And here also, I could add another data set, but I'll just sort of show you like vibes. So this sort of click on company code here. I can create a data group, or I can create a navigation path within the data module, which would carry through to, say, report author or dashboards. So a data group would be, say you have a collection of regions that you want to say, you just want to say you've got your region, say, for example, of counties of Ireland, but because Dublin's so heavy with revenue, you kind of want to look at that in its own group, and then the whole of Ireland in another group. You'll be able to sort of create a data group. I'll just sort of show you kind of interface that we have. So we're able to create a data group, go new group, and so say we're talking about counties, you'd be able to sort of select Dublin, drop that group into here, and then you say group the remaining feature items in the other group and hit OK. You're able to create as many groups here as you want. In a sense, I'm sure there's a limit, but I haven't reached it yet. And yeah, so then that data group then can be carried through to reports. So you're able to do a little bit more easier analysis without having to sort of go through case statements and the like within report authoring.
And sorry, Philip, just to cut in on that's a great piece of functionality for self-service reporting as well, which, you know, the data modules really play very strongly in. You know, there's always that super user desired experience where somebody just has a particular way they want to group customers or group products. And traditionally, you would often had to have engaged more robust IT type resources to get that level of modeling done. But now it's achievable in a much more self-service manner. So it really allows your analytics community to kind of operate at the speed of the business.
Yeah, and also if before you sort of spend a lot of time into, say, Framework Manager development, you're able to do a little quick sort of check here within this interface. See that it's all working, the modeling's correctly, then you can just throw it into Framework Manager if you want it to be a little bit more robust.
Absolutely. Question in there from JP August, Philip, about Excel. I'm going to say yes, but I don't know if that's something you're in a position to demo right now, but maybe you can talk about that quickly.
So what's the question exactly?
Can you bring in Excel files?
Yes, I'll actually show you now. Well, so here we have, I've got my source, and I will go to what source I can add. So here I'm choosing another source I want to bring into this data module, so I could bring in another data module that I've made, a data server connection. So let's just create another, I would have another connection made already to, say, another data source, SQL. Uploaded files, so this would be like an Excel file, and then I've got data sets which can be created off packages or cubes, and so then a data set then can be brought into a data module as well, and then packages would be like your Framework Manager package. But I already have some uploaded Excel files, so as you can see here, I've got our products, and you can see there it's a notation for Excel, so I'll just sort of click on this and let's say done.
So Philip, just to clarify the steps on this, if this was a cookery program, you would have already uploaded the Excel file, and now you're taking it out of the oven effectively. Yeah. Very good.
Yes. So here we have the Excel file, and it shows you all the stuff that I brought through. So when I upload the Excel file, I can choose what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. So as you can see there, there's certain things that have been bold and other things that are sort of dimmed down, because that means they are there, but I just don't want to see them. And you can sort of choose that when you upload the Excel file. So if I just drag this over to the demo module area, demo module, you can see that's appeared here. And if I have a relationship, I don't think any exists here between these two data sources. And just click here, click relationship. And then it displays all the items in there that I would be able to choose from. So again, I would be able to say search, I don't know, say for example here, if I say search item, it's sort of give me everything with item mentioned in it. So I wouldn't have to scroll down through, especially if it's like a big table. It can be quite hard and sort of taxing. But you're able to search for it and it comes up for you automatically. And then you would sort of hit item key. Obviously this relationship isn't going to work. And you just hit match selected columns and you can sort of define your cardinality of what's down here. So your one-to-many join, one-to-one, inner join, outer join, full outer join. So yeah, that's kind of come to the end of my sort of demo.
JP,
I kind of rushed through a lot.
Sorry, Philip. JP, does that answer your question? I'm going to assume yes, Philip.
Yeah, I said yes, thanks. So yeah, it's kind of the end of the demo. I know I rushed through a fair bit there, but the reason I did, I'm sort of aware of time, and there is a lot there. There's a lot that's quite new with Cognos, and the interface is a little bit different. So I just wanted to touch as many things as I could within the time allocated.
Thanks, Philip. I think that was very informative and touched on a lot of the new capabilities. I think everyone will agree, those of you familiar with IBM or with the Cognos platform, whether you've seen this or not, that this is a significant step up in terms of user experience from IBM and also capability. And I think it's definitely starting to kind of play well in that visual analytics space as well, where you've had people like Tableau playing, kind of leading the charge for a long time, in terms of delivering to that self-service on demand cohort of people that want to pursue that, or businesses that want to introduce that level of capability within their organizations, importing Excel, adding it into your data modules very, very easily. And very quickly, you could see how quick and easy it was to produce very nice, visually appealing and engaging reports and dashboards. One thing I do want to highlight here as well, and many of you may be familiar with this, but if you were using something like planning analytics, so TM1 Cube or PAW, PAX, you could also use planning analytics as a source, the TM1 Cube as a source for this. And what that would do is really augment your ability to get insight, not just on the actuals, which is really what we looked at a lot here today, but also on your actuals versus your budget. So I suppose just to remind people, who are particularly coming maybe from a financial performance management space, that by positioning a platform like this on a TM1 data source, you get that ability to get that low level of insight on your actuals against your budget or your forecast, which you can continually update, but it just gives you a huge amount of power and control over the data and your business. Do we have any questions at this point? Philip, do you want to cut to what an upgrade looks like before we run out of time?
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's jump through these slides. Okay, so an upgrade it's going to be a little bit different for different companies. But the suggested sort of idea would be to set up a new UAT environment for Cognos Analytics install, to run parallel with your existing environment. Do an audit on your existing reports and use and identify key reports. So it's kind of a good time for a spring clean to get rid of all your old reports that people aren't using anymore, and export your key reports and packages to the new UAT environment. Validate any reports issues, and say if there's new sort of, not that there'll be many, but there might be sort of a slight difference between sort of some Java, and then upgrade the existing environment and export your reports from UAT to that environment, or decommission the existing environment and go live with the new live environment, and then sort of schedule your training. So that's kind of the main synopsis of an upgrade, but again, it'll be different for different companies. It all depends on how the client would like to do it. We would give a bit of recommendations, but again, I would have to come with later discussions. Would there be any questions on that as well?
Thanks, Philip. So do we have any feedback from anyone on this? It would be nice to hear from you in terms of if this is the first time you've seen it. Is it something that you've found pleasing in terms of the level of capability and the user experience? Is it something that perhaps you see being of interest to your organization in due course as well?
Yeah, it's Lisa Farley here from CRH. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lucy. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, from the presentation, and thank you very much. It's very informative. I expected more detail, I suppose, on the upgrade, more than one slide. So, what issues have you come up against as experienced people rolling the new version out? Framework models, is there much to be done there? If you've got different levels of data sources, for example, Excel files, have you had any issues migrating to 11?
I haven't seen any really. It's just sort of when it comes to say framework manager and stuff, it's framework manager is kind of exactly the same, sort of upgraded a little bit, but it's the same as the old sort of framework manager. So there'll be no sort of change there. It's just more to do with, say, how some reports are rendered. Like some that might have to change a little bit, but it would just be you can sort of do a test through all these reports and see if there's anything sort of sitting in a funny position. Then you're able to sort of do a little quick redevelopment of that. And
okay, so
that's kind of it.
So the third point that you mentioned there is about export key report packages to the new UAT environment. So you're talking literally about exporting a backup of your current reports and then bringing that into a new environment.
Yes. So
importing it back into a new environment of your content store.
Yes, in a sense.
Okay.
But there's a functionality you actually have in administration console. You don't even have to kind of go all the way down to your content store. You're able to sort of just export through administration console into file and then just import that into your administration console through Cognos. Yeah, that was it. So you'd run your key reports, test them, make sure everything's sort of validating back to your main environment. And once everybody's happy, that's the way to do it, really.
So a lot of our reporting is on relational data. So I'd be concerned about, that the facilities of the drill through still work in the same way. Is the path the same? Is there anything changing in the back end that's going to come up with issues?
The drill through should stay the same because the reports will still be, if you were to export all the reports, it'd still be, if you report it in one big block and one big folder structure, it'll all still be there. So the drill throughs would still work. And And if they were to run into any problems, it's easily sort of fixed. You know, that's all part of the test.
So I know.
Can I quote you on that?
Lisa, look, that's a great question, and I guess the intent of this was really of this session was really to focus on the new features and capabilities of the platform and talk a little bit about the upgrade. But everyone's environments are kind of unique to themselves in a sense, and what we'd love to offer is for anyone who's interested in having, maturing a conversation around this, that we'd very happily spend some time with you on understanding your specific environment, some of your concerns that maybe you have, and getting into a little bit of more detail around the upgrade plan, the process, some of the gotchas that we've experienced, ironed out, and what that might look like for you.
Yeah, the drill throughs and the scheduling is my main concerns, because when I looked at this, it was only in testing environment at the time with IBM. I think it was last year, possibly the year before. On site in IBM, a few of us went in, and they didn't have the scheduling capability is the same as we do at the moment in 10. So I was a bit nervous around that. So I think we should put it on a dev environment and have a look, see what's available.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
So Lisa, would you like us to kind of reach out and schedule some time with you on that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Perfect.
That'd be great.
We'll take that up.
Please do.
Brilliant. Anybody else? I know we've just gone over time slightly. Is there anybody else who has any questions or feedback on the session in general?
It looks a much more intuitive product. That's what I like about it from an end user's perspective. It looks much more intuitive. So that's positive. Yeah,
I agree with you, Lisa. I think it's a much more inviting skin and experience, and anyone who has upgraded, our customers who've already upgraded, they're seeing increased adoption, and I suppose overall better user satisfaction as well.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah.
Hi, Philip. It's Tom Lakes here. Just a question. When you're looking at a view of a cube there, and I can't remember the exact scenario, it was a P&L, and you had maybe 3 locations adding into the total. But some of the things that we would get asked for is, well, just quickly show me all the worst exceptions that are in that cube there, rather than having to click through all the locations and all the various branches. And do you know where I'm coming from? That you're just trying to instantly see across your entire business where, I don't know, costs are over 10% or under 10% or whatever. Is there anything like that in the new analytics?
Well, you have the top 10, top 5 would the likes be there, but so you'd have to specify just what measure you want to see your top 10 by. So say you just want. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but imagine you have, think of some of the examples you have where you had the map of the world and you've 4 or 5 continents, and within each continent there's 30 countries and there's all these sales reps below it. You'd actually have to have your view there and try and present every single country and have a quick view of every single country and every single rep to find all your issues. But just in the analytics, is there any quick way to say, show me globally all these guys that are over or under 10%?
Well, I would suggest I would say you would sort of, maybe within your data module, you would be able to create a new sort of data member, right? And within that data member, you'd sort of be able to set a case statement of saying if it's over a particular boundary of a measure, if say 10%, lower 10%, then put them in within this data group. And if nothing else, then put them in another data group. So when you're building your dashboard, you would be able to slice then at the very top with a context filter just to say, look at this this data group. Does that make sense?
So
Yes, it does. I suppose. I suppose what I was looking for was maybe easy stuff for the front end user, because you can't be specific to all the requests. And I acknowledge it's great to see the top 10 and bottom 10 and whatever else, but I'm looking for a way that can almost explode that out to an element level. But I take your point about the framework manager. Thank you.
yeah, so Tom, I think there's two answers to your question. Philip's probably covered one, which is a little bit prescriptive in nature, where you're almost pre-coding kind of the gotchas or what you're looking for. The other option is, and this isn't something I guess that was on the agenda for today, but certainly it's something that we have in our schedule of events, is to get a bit more into more of the pure analytic side of things, particularly looking at how businesses can leverage something like Watson from IBM.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, what you could do is you could combine data from something like this, right? So, a Cognos Analytics report output. And by running it through something like a Watson analytics engine, that can start to find outliers in an objective manner and in an autonomous manner as well, without user input. But I think it's a kind of a different conversation in a sense. But that's something we'd be very happy to explore further with you. We will be scheduling a call on that in due course, but very happy to talk to you and maybe work with you, on a proof of concept to see how we could use something like Watson Analytics to give you that level of insight.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So.
All right. Look, we've gone over on time. Does anybody have any last questions they'd like to ask before we wrap up? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I do apologize for going over. Unfortunately, that was due to the good questions that we got. And we'll follow up with you individually to see, how you'd like to mature a conversation around this. And once again, thank you and have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.